Hi viewers, in this video we will dive into the movie Ghosted. We will discuss the movie story, summarize the plot and explore the cast and characters. Additionally, we will cover the movie's production details and box office performance. Finally, we will provide a review and share some personal reactions. Let's begin with the movie story. The film starts with a woman, Sadie Rhodes, played by Anna de Armas, driving when she gets a phone call from her therapist. She is lamenting the recent loss of a co-worker Eva, and the therapist tells her to take steps to move on. Sadie tells her she will stop for groceries. At a nearby farmer's market, Carl Turner, played by Chris Evans, is running a shop of herbs. His friends and co-workers think Cole is still feeling bad over a recent breakup and try to encourage him to step outside his comfort zone. Sadie shows up moments later to buy a houseplant from a nearby vendor, but Cole steps in since the vendor took a break to get high. Cole and Sadie start talking, though it leads to an argument over which type of houseplant she should get since she tells Cole that she is not usually home because of work. The other vendor comes back and asks Cole to go after Sadie, so he does and tries to apologize after inviting her out for a coffee, which Sadie's agree to. Cole and Sadie go on a date where they get coffee, go to a museum, and he knows her the step featured in the extrogate. They go to a croc bar later where Sadie performs, but after she begins Cole up, he refuses to go due to shyness. Cole brings Sadie home, but they have a mutual attraction to one another, so he spends the night with her. Cole later goes to his family's farm to visit his parents and younger sister, Mattie. It has been a couple of days since Cole has heard from Sadie, and he has already texted her a lot, so Mattie thinks Cole has already scared her away and she is ghosting him. He generally believes Sadie is one, but his parents and sister remind him that he doesn't take risks and he has not even left the country. Cole then realizes he left his inhale in Sadie's bag, and since he has trekking tiles on most of his atom, so finds that Sadie is in London. He decided to make a big romantic gesture to surprise her there. Cole travels to London where he tries to reach the location on his tracker app. He is brought to London Bridge where three big goons find him and knock him out before abducting him. Cole wakes up underground being interrogated by a villain called Brevisol. He and his men think Cole is an agent known as the Taxman and that he has a top secret code that Brevisol wants. He tries to torture Cole for info by using murder hornets, but the door blasts open and an unarmed assailant kills Brevisol and his men. The assailant turns out to be Sadie, who is a secret agent and also the real Taxman. She gets Cole out and has her follow him. Sadie shoots more bad guys coming after them before they make it above ground to the Khyber Pass. Sadie commands a tourist bus and Cole as more villains go after them. She drives the Bex Akbars as they chase after her only to end up shoot or blow up. Two villains make it onto the bus and Cole kills one by stabbing him in the face with a cactus, intended to be a joke gift for Sadie, and knocking him out of the bus over a cliff, while Sadie shoots the other one and makes him fall. They proceed to escape by elsewhere. A disgraced front-end intelligence operative named Levicki and his henchman Wagner receives intel on Clue, as they really believed he is the Taxman and has the code that they want for a bioweapon known as Aztec. Levicki has a bounty put on Cole's head to be brought in alive. Cole walks with Sadie arguing over him, thinking she lied to him when she counters that she was being too needy. She also admits that she killed Alina because she turned out to be a rough agent. They take a ride to a nearby town in Pakistan to meet a contact of Sadie's named Marco. He thinks that he and Sadie have a romantic history, though she denies it. And he also mentioned how he lost a hand for helping her as a warning to Cole not to get attached to her. Sadie pays Marco to help and Cole back to the US so she can continue her mission. Just as Cole and Sadie are about to part ways, Marco is killed by a bounty hunter calling himself grandson of Sam. He is set to collect the bounty on Cool, only for another bounty hunter called the Leopard to shoot grandson and take Cool and Sadie with him into his car. Then another bounty hunter called God the Bounty Hunter snaps Leopard's neck and makes Cool and Sadie drive. When he escorts them at gunpoint, God the Bounty Hunter is run over by a barely alive grandson. Before he dies, grandson tells Sadie where the bounty is supposed to be delivered. On their way, Cool mentions the passcode, to which Sadie explained to him that Asgate is and that Alina know the passcode before she was killed. Sadie comes up with a plan to trick Levique by taking Cool is like a hostage that they need alive. They board a plane with Wagner as he tries to unlock Ansik from a briefcase that Levique was in possession of. Unfortunately, Cool and Sadie's plane goes awry when Wagner finds a selfie that Cool took of himself and Sadie is in bed while she was asleep. She is disturbed but ends up fighting off Wagner and the other henchmen before Cool grabs a parachute and jumps out with an injured Sadie and Aztec. The two land on an island where Cool uses the parachute as a tent and patches up Sadie's stab wound with nearby herbs. While they set up camp for the night, Cool talks about why he never travels, using his parents as an excuse and claiming they need him. While Sadie reveals that her mom passed away when she was young, the two appear to be reconnecting their romance. The next morning, Wagner sends Coons to the location where Cool and Sadie have been tracked. They make a run for it but are saved by other CIA agents who take them both into headquarters. Cool and Sadie are put into a room for a lie detector test where Sadie admits that it was a mistake to save Cool's life since she values her work over personal relationship. When Cool is met by another agent separately, he shows Cool pictures of Sadie's kills, but one picture catches his eye. It's of Elena corpse, but above her is a houseplant that was used by ancient Aztecs, meaning that the genetic sequence of this plant is in fact the code for Aztec. Cool agrees with the agent's plan to use him to lure Levique by having him continue to pretend to be the text man. Levique gets the first part of the passcode, which Wagner confirms work. Levique is feeling increased pressure to deliver Aztec to his buyer, Mr. Otami, who threatened to have Levique killed if he fails him. The agent set up a meeting between Cool and Levique to take place in a rotating restaurant. Otami joins them with the plane almost failing when Cool doesn't have the passcode, but Sadie shows up and reveals himself as taxman to the villains. They get the briefcase open and she receives her payments, but she then issues a $10 million bounty on Levique to get them out. A bunch of bounty hunters then set up and aim their guns at Levique, prompting the other patrons to flee. Soon a fight breaks out and the restaurant starts rotating too quickly. Sadie briefly runs into the one-eyed bounty hunter named Jonas, who tries to tell her that she changed his life, but she is distracted by the big fight. Cool fights Wagner, which ends with him throwing Wagner into a rotating gear mechanism that crushes him. League tries to get out with Aztec after killing Otami. Cool, Sadie and Leaf get through against the window, which start breaking under pressure. Sadie shoots a small tower that falls on top of League, sending him falling to his death. Sadie manages to grab Aztec before it falls out and she and Cool kiss. Later on, Cool brings Sadie to meet his family. 3 months later, he joined her on mission by taking in targets for information, starting with an arms dealer named Roll, but first they enjoy a museum date. Now let's talk about the biography of the main cast shortly. Ana de Armas, born April 30, 1988, Havana, Cuba, is a Cuban-born actress known for her breakout role as a kind-hearted caretaker in the 2019 film Knives Out. De Armas began her career in Spanish-language films and television series and then learned English so she could land roles in Hollywood. She soon recorded a part in the James Bond film No Time to Die 2021 and the lead as American actress Merle Bronte in Blonde 2022. Early life and career. De Armas was raised alongside her brother in Santa Cruz del North, a town east of Havana, by her parents Ramon de Armas, a former teacher and school principal, and Ana Caso, an employee of the Cuban Ministry of Education. At age 12, Ana de Armas began studying at the National Theatre School of Havana, and she made her film acting debut at age 16 in the Cuban drama Una Rosa de Fresca, which was released in 2006. At age 18, de Armas moved to Spain, where her maternal grandparents were from. She pursued bar television and film routes, and in 2007 booked a role as Carolina Lean Stone in the Spanish television team Drama El Internado, The Boarding School, 2007-10. She left the show just before its final season and continued to act in Spanish language series and films. In 2011, de Armas married special actor Mark Corlett, but the pair divorced in 2013. Early Hollywood roles. In 2014, de Armas moved to Los Angeles and began audition for roles even though she had just begun learning English through intensive language course. She nonetheless made her Hollywood debut in the thrill Knock Knock 2015, starring alongside Keanu Reeves, and had subsequent roles in the comedy crime film War Dogs 2016, in Overdrive 2015, and in Blade Runner 2049 in 2017, the last of which was a sequel to the 1982 film Blade Runner starring Harrison Ford. In 2019, de Armas gained fame and acclaim for her role in the hit movie Knives Out, playing a crime novelist nurse who becomes tangled up in a murder mystery. She garnered a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actresses in Musical or Comedy. Major roles quickly followed, including a CIA agent in Daniel Craig's final James Bond film No Time to Die 2021, and an adulterous wife in the erotic thrill Deep Water 2022 with Ben Affleck. In 2022, de Armas started as Marilyn Monroe in Blonde, which was based on Jack Carroll Oates' fictional Remaining of the Actress's Life. De Armas received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actresses, thereby becoming the first cabin actress to be nominated for the award. She followed up the films with the romantic comedy and action thrill Ghosted 2023 opposite Chris Evans. Our next main character is Chris Evans. Chris Evans, born June 13, 1981, Boston, Massachusetts, US, is an American actor who is known for his charismatic performance in superhero movies, but who also earned respect for more nuanced dramatic and comedic performance. Evans grew up in Sudbury, Massachusetts, where his father was a dentist and his mother was involved with a local youth theater. Evans and his siblings were all interested in musical theater, and he attended an acting camp as a child. Before his years of high school, he scored a summer internship at a casting company in New York City. Following his graduation in 1999, she landed roles in a short-lived television comedy, Opposite Sex 2000, and a little-seen family movie, The Newcomers 2000. Between guest roles on TV shows, Evans appears in a teen movie spoof, Not Another Teen Movie 2001, and the teen Sapphire The Perfect Score 2004. He then portrayed a young man who received a phone call from a kidnapping victim, Kim Basinger, and attempts to rescue her in the thriller Calculator 2004. The film established him as a plausible action star. In 2005, Evans appeared in his first superhero movie, playing the Bosch Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, in the Marvel Universe story Fantastic Four. His credits from 2007 included the science fiction movie Sunshine, directed by Danny Paul, the comic drama The Nanny Diaries, The Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Among his next movies were The Lost of a Teardrop Diamond 2008, scripted by Tennessee Williams, the action movie The Losers, and cult favorite Scott Pilgrim v. the World 2010. In 2011, Evans first played the character with whom he is perhaps most identified, the earliest World War II earliest, who becomes Captain America in Captain America the First Avenger. He reprised the role in a number of subsequent blockbusters: The Avengers 2010, Captain America the Winter Soldier 2014, Avenger Age of Ultron 2015, Captain America Civil War 2016, Spider-Man Homecoming 2017, Avengers Infinity War 2018, and Avengers Endgame 2019. In addition to pursuing his career as a Captain America, Ivan gave an electrifying performance as a drug-addicted Lear in Punctured 2011 based on a real event. He also won praise for his later portrayal of a rebel leader in Bong Joon's dystopian fable Snowpiercer 2013 and as the unconventional guardian of the mathology in Gifted 2017. Evans made his directorial debut with The Romance Before We Go 2014, in which he also starred. In 2018, Evans first appeared on Broadway in a well-received performance as a veteran cop in Kenneth Lonergan's Lobby Hero. He was later cast as the spoiled and oblivious son of the deceased Patrice in Rian Johnson's Knives Out 2019, a classic murder mystery that was a box office hit. He also played the father of a murder suspect in the TV serial Defending Jacob 2020 in the animated Lightyear 2022, a spin-off of Pixar's popular Toy Story series. Evans voiced the character of Buzz Lightyear. His other credits from 2022 include the spy thriller The Gray Man, in which he portrayed a villainous former CIA agent. The review and summary of the movie Ghosted. Robert Albert once famously wrote in his glossary of movie terms that no good movie had ever been made since 1977, featuring a character with the first name of Cole. Unexpectedly, he went on to make an exception for the decidedly not good Days of Thunder. I cannot say for sure whether that rule has held up over the years, but I suspect if he had lived to see Ghosted, he might have elected to finally retire it once and for all on the basis that there was no worse example that could ever come along. The film is so smug and self-satisfied that you can practically feel the contempt everyone is involved with its production has for its audience. Our cool Chris Evans is a former agriculture historian who is perpetually unlucky in love because he tends to get too intense too early and scare people off. He meets the mysterious Sadie at a farmer's market and the two seems to hit it off famously throughout a long date that covers everything from Croc to a visit to the famous steps from the Akos Gate. Alas, when he tries to contact her the next day, she ignores his insistent texts and emojis. Thanks to a decidedly named plot construct, he figures out that she is now in London and in what he considers to be a grand romantic gesture and not a massive red flag. He decides to fly over there and surprise her. This is supposed to be charming and not at all creepy, with even his parents and are spectacularly wasted arguing him on. After arriving, he thinks he has tracked her down but is immediately kidnapped and taken to the lair of a torturer named Brisilov, who believes Cole is someone known as the Taxman who has crucial information that he hopes to extract via the use of murder hornets. Before that can happen, he is rescued by a mysterious figure who turns out to be Sadie. It turns out that she is actually a CIA agent pursuing a master criminal named Levicki, who is attempting to acquire the codes for a spectacularly deadly new super weapon so that he can sell it on the black market. These codes are thought to be in the possession of the Taxman, and since everyone thinks that Cole is the Taxman, he becomes the target. With Sadie using him as bait to stop the bad guys for good, this leads them on an international journey to stop, leak, and potentially save the world while bikering and bantering between the incessant gunshots, explosions, and car chases that compromise most of the plot. You may recall, thought you will be infinitely happier if you don't, last year's The Grey Man, an incredibly loosey and thoroughly unmemorable lead of international espionage claptrap that was like watching someone else playing a bad video game. The film happened to co-star Evans and Armas, and I cannot help but wonder if they made a secret pact between them to try to find another such vehicle that was even more rapid and forgettable. Mission accomplished. There has been a lot of talk lately about artificial intelligence program being used to create art and the potentially disastrous repercussions that might occur as a result. Although Ghosted has no fewer than 4 people credited with the screenplay and a director, Dexter Fletcher, whose previous Rockman was one of the better music biopics of recent years, it feels as it was created by just such a program, one eventually focused on following tight algorithm that anything remotely resembling genuine creative inspiration. The aforementioned screenplay is little more than a half-assed rehash of True Lies, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Night and Day, and he likes that bring absolutely nothing of interest to the table. Ghosted is essentially a laundry line connecting its interchangeable action beats with tired characters, lazy plotting, and a complete lack of wit, humor, excitement, thrills, or basic coherence. Those aforementioned action sequences are containedly big and nosy, but Fletcher shoots them in such a bland, disengaged manners that he makes the Russo brothers look like the coons in terms of stylistic flair, in which I can only assume was an effort to try to distract viewers from the formulaic proceedings. The film threw in a bunch of familiar faces in brief cameo appearances, which proved to be little more than a distraction from a movie that's pretty much a distraction all by itself. However, the worst aspect of Ghosted is the virtually non-existent chemistry between Yvonne and D. Armas. Both are good actors and undeniably charismatic performers, but they fail to click here on any level. Watching the true struggle to strike sparks with such substandard material is generally painful. This would be bad enough, but the film inadvertently underlines this flaw with a running gag in which other characters moment that they should get a room because the sexual tension between them is off the charts. Based on the available evidence, this may be true, but unfortunately it is off the charts in the wrong direction. There was more palpable heat between the two of them in Knives Out than there is at any point here, and they were not even necessarily trying in that one. Ghosted is a tedious exercise in sheer greed and laziness that performs if enough money and famous faces are tossed into the mix, no one will notice or at least mind. The utter visions of the enterprise by a bit of heptipotence I would up seeing that film is immediately after watching. Are you there, Cort? It's me, Margaret, and was in a uncharacteristically good mood as a result of that generally wonderful movie. However, by the time Ghosted finally dragged itself across the finish line, complete with threatening future installments, that sense of good cheer and hopefulness regarding the possibilities of cinema had been completely eradicated. At least the aforementioned The Grey Man and the dignity to be completely forgettable. Honestly, before I mentioned it, did you even recall that it existed? But I have a terrible feeling this one is going to stick into your mind for a long time after you see it, no matter how hard you may try to erase it. It's easy to see the commercial allure of Apple's pre-summer Mook Buster Ghosted. The package a snappy password title, an idea from the Deadpool team later flashed out by some Marvel writers, a big sexy star pairing moved on screen twice before, an action comedy romance hybrid designed to appeal to the widest possible audience. One can only imagine the enthused high fives that took place in some cool Paratline LA bathroom when it was given the green light, but it's utterly impossible to see the appeal of Ghosted. The movie a strangely maddening atrocious heap of increasingly bone-headed decisions that will act as a depressing documentation of just how rotten things got in the current overstretched streaming landscape. Ghosted is content dedicated by the algorithm at its absolute industry-shaming worst, so carelessly and lifelessly cobbled together that we are inclined to believe it's the first film created entirely by AI. It's almost avant-garde in its all-consuming awfulness, made with sheer contempt of the usual base staple one expects from a movie. Head-shakingly symbolic on all fronts, its smug elevator pitch over plot, a guy gets ghosted by a woman who ends up being a secret agent, And while the every inevitable travel scenes that take us to the end of this log line are bad enough, they are nowhere near as bad as what follows. Chris Evans plays Cool, a farmer slash history academic slash plant oppressive who meets Anna de Armas' mysterious art curator Sadie one day at the farmer's market. After some truly painful banter about plants, they decided to go on an impromptu date, the kind that cuts to them in an art gallery with her booming "Oh my God alive" motel on the pier next to the Tower of Lincoln books and her "Nothing Sounds Like You Love Lincoln" crathingly bland meet cute dialogues that removes us from their journey before it truly begins. After Cool gets here, it comes ghosted by her. He basically decided to track her down and creepily flies to London after accidentally leaving a tracking device on her person or something. She is as alarmed as we are by this behavior, but is forced to protect him when her real possession is revealed, and the two finds themselves on the run. With heightened materials such as this, no one expects or really wants anything that exists in the grounded real world, but there's something so uneasily, almost creepily synthetic about every single frame of Ghosted, from the awkwardly robotic dialogue to the uncomfortably a sequel central pairing to some shockingly subpar green screen work. But that we still don't want it to be exist within the confines of a cheap simulation. It's the rare Apple movie that looks like a Netflix one. It's a strange break for actor-director Dexter Fletcher, stumbling from the Elton John biopic Rockman into the northward of big-budget anonymity. This film, more than product of an uninterested community of tech, exists than anyone remotely interested in the world of entertainment. There are embarrassingly dating action sequences with songs like "Are You Gonna Be My Girl?", "My Sharona", and grown uptown folk largely plastered over shady editing and labored choreography interpreted with eye-rolling, unfunny quips as if a computer was asked to remake Mr. and Mr. Smith for Tubi. The death of the movie star has been greatly overstated by the pairing of Evans and Armas, previously seen in The Knives Out and The Grey Man, is so disastrously misjudged it does make one seriously question that the industry now thinks a star is and what we as an audience are expected to expect from them. Like last year's similarly rich Red Notice, which saw Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, and Gil Gadot all compete to see who could be the least charismatic actor on screen. It's an actively uncomfortable for us as it appears to be for them. A scene for the pair kissing on a beach is so glimmery recent that it seems as tough it was performed at gunpoint. It's not as if the ChatGPT level script gives them much of anything to work with. You thought you made a hearty, not a meta-harry. It's an almost impressively ignored attempt at zinger, but Yelp stars of the climber should be able to bring more of an upfill. They are settled with they should be sleek. As with everyone involved in the film, including Adrien Brody as a ridiculously accent French villain and poor army Sadek stuck playing a stock photo mom who becomes sentient, it just feels like poor, cool psyche work, clock in and checked out. If you don't seem to care them, why on earth should we? Is Ghosted really that bad? The sixth reason the movie reviews are so awful. Ghosted is Apple TV Plus new big budget action movie with a star-studded cast and a respectful filmmaker at the helm. But the film has been absolutely slammed by critics. With movies like True Lies and Mr. and Mrs. Smith as major influences, Ghosted follows Chloe, who falls in love with Sadie after spending just one night with her. After not getting any response from her, Cool tracks Sadie down with his in-hail tracker app and travels all the way to London, only to find out she is the CIA agent. Despite a potentially interesting premise, it has become one of the worst reviewed movie of 2023. Ghosted bought what seems to be a substantial budget as it's full of special effects, huge action sequence, world famous movie star, and it has a soundtrack full of classic songs from the likes of the Beatles. However, every single one of these elements has been criticized and is currently set at a rotten 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. Even boosted few positive learning reviews are partly on the fence. Apple TV Plus tried to develop an audience-pleasing romantic action comedy with mass appeal, but according to critics, the movie is anything but. Here are 6 reasons why Ghosted has failed to impress. Chris Evans and Anna de Armas have no chemistry in Ghosted. Ghosted is the third movie starring both de Armas and Evans, as it follows 2019 Knives Out and 2022 The Grey Man. Unfortunately, Ghosted is closer to The Grey Man and The Knives Out, as the Netflix action movie was similarly characterized. And Adrien Brody, even billionaire Ghosted character, is ever similar to Evans over the top heavy performance in The Grey Man. However, Ghosted is the worst movie of the three and is partly due to the lack of chemistry between the two leads, which comes as a surprise as they lit up the screen in Knives Out. Evans and de Armas proved they had great chemistry in the past, but the back and forth between the stars and Ghosted has been heavily criticized. Millstone explained it's readily apparent that de Armas and Evans, charismatic and charming on their own, have next to no chemistry. Every line delivered is so subtle it's tough they are being wrote off cue cards a la SNL via Rolling Stone. Ghosted might have badly written dialogue, but de Armas and Evans are unable to elevate what lines they are given. From their first argument about a plot to monotonous exposition, their performance seems totally phoned in, adding to Ghosted lackluster atmosphere. Ghosted's screenplay feels like it was written by AI. With AI writing software becoming more and more popular, even screenwriters are using artificial intelligence to help them write movies. Ghosted seems like it was written by ChatGPT more than any other films. As it hits the beat, it needs to be knowing, doing anything original. Brian Edit called the movie the kind of empty Hollywood product that makes you wonder if the screenwriters are already using artificial intelligence to write their scripts. Via a deep focus review, while AI should not solely write films, it can be a useful tool for screenwriting, but Ghosted feel like an AI developed screenplay was the only and final draft. Ghosted Fast and Furious style action doesn't work. The Fast and Furious franchise has such outrageous action sequences that are explosive, full of CGI, and result in Dominic Toretto and his family destroying the whole city. And while that worked for Fast and Furious, it doesn't for Ghosted. Through his reviews seek are more toward positive than negative and rated the movie fresh. Jamie Graham noted, the Fast and Furious action is a bit plasticky, while the movie has some great action set pieces such as the revolving restaurant in Ghosted's ending, and it leads to some inventive death. The movie's action feels compressed. Graham's review is an accurate representation of how the movie's action sequences have generally been perceived. It could have something to do with experiencing the film for the first time on TV and even on smaller screens like iPads and phones. As a movie like Furious 7 would likely have had the same reception if it was released the way. If Ghosted has a theatrical release, it might have gotten more positive reviews. The movie budget has been disclosed, but it was clearly high given the huge action sequence, and it would have been way more exciting to experience them on a big screen. Ghosted's jokes are not funny. Ghosted's comedy has been in most critic crosshair, and Nicole Eggman called it a combination romantic comedy and action film. It's just unfortunate that it's not particularly good at being either one. Via Oscar Central, MCG Comics says Ghosted, as featured from Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, and Ryan Reynolds, were the funniest part of the Apple TV Plus movie. Stan and Mackie plays competitive bounty hunters, and Ryan's play an old flame of sadists who believe that being constructed was the best thing that ever happened to him. But outside of that, most of the rom-com humor goes down like a lead balloon. Ghosted pales its comparison to True Lies and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. There has been a surge in popularity when it comes to spy re-commerce with movies like The Lost City and Shotgun Wedding, and Ghosted is the lasted offering from the genre. Unfortunately, because of our similarity to much better films, it has been compared negatively to the best action romantic comedies Mr. and Mr. Smith and True Lies, one of the Scarancher's best movies. Kevin Mayer noted for better example of sexual chemistry in similar movies, see Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. However, Ghosted is at least better than the recent released True Lies TV show's remake, which has gotten even worse reviews than the Apple TV Plus. Guten Pargrist is basically a stalker. Ultimately, Gooko's biggest problem is its main character. Chris Evans plays cool in Ghosted, who is an average Joe who can defend himself. He follows a woman he spends one night with across the world, and he does so with a tracking device in his inhaler that he left in her bag. Joshua Ryan called it the most extreme stalker behavior they could have chosen for a romantic lead. Not only in an inhaler tracker app ridiculously, but Cool is a complete stalker and everything he does is toxic behavior and raises so many red flags. This questionable behavior not only makes Cool hard to relate to, but hangs a moral question mark over the entire plot of Ghosted. Sword Stone Defocused Review Total Film The Times. The romantic action comedy has always had a breathlessly eager to please, overstuffed quality. You might say it's what's not like to like gender. We laugh with pluses racing and swoon at the moonstruck chemistry in a superior room act com like Romantic the Stone or Out of Straight. True Lies are the new murder mystery sequel. The action is the romance, it's how the characters connect. One way the form extended vintage Hollywood screwball is that it ends to be more couple who so dislike each other that only by joining in death-defying scraps that they melt the ice. But then there are movies like Mr. and Mrs. Smith where the love gets sandwiched between vehicular meme so aggressive it's played for laughs and the two mechanism for the whole things become like one of those fast food fusion experiments. Sorry, but the movie escapism equivalent of a burger topped with a quesadilla served with the cheese fries is not my idea of a good time. So, the movie Ghosted is one of the best of Ana de Armas and Yvonne. And that's what Ghosted is. Directed by the almostly unstable Dexter Fletcher, Rocksman from What the Hell, Let's Throw It in Their script by 4 screenwriters, Rhett Reese, Chris McKenna, Erik Sommers, Paul Roderick, that makes you grateful that there were not 4 more. The movie is romantic action comedy that starts off light and breezy but turns, before you know it, into a deadweight spectacle of French exegesis. We are talking a setup that's too definitely first sets to hook into fight scenes out of a Jason Statham movie, but staged with far less precision and arbitrary scenes of international settings, an espionage thrill plot that's just cultivated yet inconsequential enough to be thoroughly annoying, and a romantic connection between the two stars that doesn't too much grow and develop as Mr. Sides and Cat Tremble. Theoretically, we are made to look at their imagination and think the couple that makes it through a top heavy put on thrillers. This execution together stays together. Ghosted starts off in Washington DC as a bigonic screwball confection with Chris Evans all sexy beards and Nancy grin and Ana de Armas all spikes filtration getting into an argument that moment they meet cute. He is Chloe, a farmer who's minding a spotted plant states at the farmer's market. She is Sadie, an art creator who is buying the wrong plant, but their scrabble melts into an afternoon coffee, then a visit in the extricate states in the Georgetown and a live band rock bar, then a wander through the city that leads at light, followed by a hop into the snake that seals the deal. The characters connect, the actors connect. The only conflict hinted all arrives in the form of a running joke about a potted hatcher, which symbolizes two things: the tendency of one party are to neglect what she is supposed to be nurturing, that's why the Cusis is the perfect plant for her, and the tendency of another him to be overly needy, which means that she could use a bit of that prickliness so far so fun. So the little sounds like it's telling us the summer's going to be ghosted, but it's actually a reference to Chloe paranoia about being ghosted, which leads him to practically text Sadie the next day. He doesn't think he is sending her too many texts because he doesn't count the emoji text. Cool lives with his family on a lovely farm outside Washington, but there's a folky parents are more supportive of him than his breasty sister is, but they all can agree on this, claim it don't act so needy. Cool, however, cannot help himself. It is in his nature to be that outdated thing, that overly super nice guy. So after Sadie doesn't return his text and he discovers by tracking the asthma inhalers he left in her pursuit, that's the first time our plausibility alert button goes off. It will not be the last that she's gone to London. She makes an impulsive decision. He will fly across the ocean and surprise her, as if this were the climax of the 90s rom-com and not the kick-off of an everything but the kitchen sink steaming movie. With Cool look like a stalker, of course he will. No sane person would do this, but the movie needs him to be in London so that he can suddenly get surrounded by three henchmen who mistake him for the taxman. That's the code name for a mysterious Apollic spectre in the very much not. It's also an excuse to use the Beatles taxman, so why would they think that's who he is? Why would a sinister baddie played by Tim Blake Nelson with a cool what Dracula extracts him into a chair and begin torturing him with a smorgasbord of like bugs? If you have not already figured it out, the theme of Ghost are at least its modus operandi it why ask why. A good room act should escalate slowly but surely so the audience feels like it's being invited along for the ride. Ghosted on the other hand waste no time dropping Cool and Sadie into a desert in Pakistan where the commander colorful spangly indigenous bus and engaged in a cliffside road chase that road like it wants to be the center part sequence of Indiana Jones. That Cool and innocent farmer is already hanging off the side of the bus like actions to make it less nagging than the central confusion built into the story. Sadie, in case I forgot to mention, is a CIA cutthroat who didn't plan on Cool following her to London. Yet she never looks she least bit nonplussed about the fact that she showed up even as they become partners. The two maintain their hostility, which is partly rooted in her man over mission ethos. She values the mission more than the life of any colleague, including Cool. Yet for 2 sloggy hours, she could care less about the mission, yet it's all a Mafagin or about 3 of them, starting with Asdid, a biomedical weapon that Leave, played by Adrien Brody, as Adrien Brody is trying to get hold of. Yet the film barely musters the pretense that any of them matter. He wants Marvel hero that he is canny enough to flirt with nerdishness, but he spends too much of Ghosted acting petulant, maybe because he has to act to one too many lines like "You thought you met a hottie, not a meta Harry," and the Armas, I'm afraid, turns into meta Glarify. In a running gag, famous actors keep showing up unveiled as assassins only to be assassinated after 2 minutes of screen time. In another running gag, everyone keeps telling Cool and Sadie, "You two should get a room," the joke being that they are fighting like cats and dogs. We get it, they are expressing their sexual chemistry. They are an action scene set abroad, a plane set to just promptly records "Are you gonna be my girl?" which leads to the biggest being stranded on an island in the Arabian Sea. At this point, you will start to notice that the movie is not building their chemistry, it's getting in the way of it. Ghosted works up to an elaborate sequence set in the glass and skyscraper restaurant that may remind you of a lot of other better sequences. The epilogue intrigue is wrought, the action is more bombastic than any room act can truly sustain. I'm not sure if Dexter Fletcher has hit into stages elegantly, facetfully yet plausible action scene, yet and Ghosted the tools a whole lot of stuff into the blender, and that's supposed to be enough. The action in the movie doesn't really do much to bring the two characters together except to the extent that why it's over it's like the Novocaine veering off. Ghosted is a big budget star-studded action romance featuring on Apple TV Plus April 21, although a more fitting destination for it would be a dark closet on a high shelf with no one might ever find it. Featuring not a single convincing element or exchange, that festival plays like a wannabe night and day exciting and lighting annoyed reaction, gone for its awful one-liners, explanation for its moronic part of it, and eye roll for its terrible CGI and desperate combos. It feels like ChatGPT wrote it, and the fact that it did it all the more damning of the who did it. The responsible scribes in question would be the devs behind the Deadpool films and Marvel's recent Spider-Man trilogy, who brings none of those procedures, wit, and charm to this derivate undertaking. Directed with maximum clearness by Rocksman Dexter Fletcher, Ghosting concerns the dreamy adventure of two characters who are completely unreal and share zero chemistry. Chrissy wants to school a farmer who worked for his parent, Tato Devon, and Amy Saders, who must have hired him when they were quite young. He spends his time being a jack to customer at the local farmer markets. Yvonne could not be less believable as an agriculturalist if he tried. His coifed hair, neatly trimmed beard, and buff physique screams liar. If not aspiring actor, he is matched in impulsivity by Anna de Armas as Sadie, a single woman who wears a variety of stylish outfits and claims to be a art curator. Her favorite painter, she appreciatively state is Monet, which seems about as authentic as her long flowing wig. Cool and Sadie's meet cute and vomit painted Hunter about the latest inability to care for house plants because she's always away on business, thereby giving birth to a running bit about a cactus that embellishment of the proceedings' harmlessness. Rarely have two attractive stars generated favor sparks together, in part because Ghost scripts fall flat with every line of dialogue. When Cool Friend spots him to pursue Sadie because the sexual tension was off the charts, it's as if the film is actively gaslighting its audience. Wertzy's letter demonstration resorts to the most heavy-handed exposition convincible. I think that the tips that you plan the leads are the one that gives you the most, says Cool at the end of the pair's day, long first day, one of the memorable theme padding proximate that inspired the act to gig. Cool cares about people and is too cowardly to leave home where says Sadie is a globe-trotting lunar who fears commitment. Following their magical first date, he becomes right and frustrated when his unavailable text and light emoji stuff which he learns count as additional text go unanswered. In response to receiving the Cool shoulder, Cool makes his far-fetched decision to travel to London to surprise Sadie, a grand romantic gesture. There he is kidnapped and held hostage by a group of baddies led by Tim Blake Nelson, sporting a thick Russian accent, who think he is a super agent known as the Taxman, and plans to torture him with execute insect in order to get a coveted passcode before any of that can take place. Cool is saved by the actual Taxman, who is Sadie. To be fair, Armas is more credibly as a spy than an art curator. The action that ensues, however, is of a third-rate nature, clumsily blending parody and comedy, and embellished with computer-generated effects that grow sniper with each successive application. Sadie and Cole Biker encouragingly encouraged about how she lied to him and he is canningly complication to her mission, and the dreadfulness of her back and forth is so immense as to borderline impressive. The film's lack of imagination is subsumed by three spectre spotting characters responding to Sadie and Chloe aggressive by gawping, "You two need to get a room," yet somehow that's not even the worst of it. Adrien Brody plays a French body named Levick who speaks like a cartoon. We cannot afford this kind of failure, and seeks a bobbin weapon as a trick that he is intent on selling to random evil individual. That device should be a simple MacGuffin. Example, generic plot was designed to keep things moving forward. Yet Rice Marwick, McKenna, and Sommers script instead spends alternate amount of time talking about its ins and outs. bearing any momentum or left beneath mountain of pointless Gilbert Hook. Along their journey, Sadie and Cool battle parties on a bus encounter a foreign agent, one of Sadie's exes, who has a mechanical hand because Gusted wants to make a masturbation joke and content with assassin embodies by famous faces in grief wink appearances. There's a deadly chit chat about that has to be done, where everyone has to go and why Osaka is so important, but it all quickly comes to sound like white noise being emptied by actors who are trying too hard to transform suburb mush into something amiable. Even more astonishing, the film repeatedly has character mistake clue for the taxman because the Armas is a woman, and yet the film doesn't even try to do anything with its exist single, save this is for a later you go guys instead of Cool Brody proclaiming I am the boyfriend. Ghosted is a satire of Leader Fair that plays the Beatles' taxman during its final fight because you see that D. Armas nickname its climax set in a high-rise rotating restaurant is a momentum to rush and crummy CGI as well as flat action choreography that's neither thrill for and not funny. Both Evans and The Armas are fully wrong for and better than. This material and this stained performance just managed to make everything worse. Only Brody, now fully in his over-the-top villain's phase, following Poker Face, See How They Run and Peaky Blender seem to understand a needy tear, although he too is ultimately undercut by a screenplay divide of inspiration. Bombing his status as a moorcock in a larger criminal machine brought his scandal limits. What are we, instruments expendable, we deserve better? The same might be said about actors and especially those found in his damsel dude. Like this review? So just like the video. Ghosted, starring Chris Evans and Anna de Armas, is the most watched movie debut to date for Apple TV Plus. In the big first to date today, after dropping on April 21, and we heard viewership has continued to swell into Monday and Tuesday, the Dexter Fletcher director movie pulled in 328 and 500 viewers per Samba TV. That's more than the first 2 days of any highly viewed Apple TV Plus movies, including Finch, Spirited, My Mind, and Me. So, the movie Ghosted box office performance. The date comes from a panel of 3.1 million smart TV household who turns in for at least 1 minute. Samba TV research panel is balanced and weight us to the US cases around 112 million across age, gender, ethnicity, and household income. Its panel is nearly 100 times larger than Nelson household footprint of 45,000. We are also hearing that the completion rate of Ghosted is 20% above Apple TV Plus average rate. Apple TV declined comment on Simba TV's research. We hear that the numbers are actually much bigger than the Simba TV complaint. The star power of Chris Evans and Anna de Armas in Apple TV Plus' latest movie Ghosted helped propel the movie to outperform nearly every other Apple TV Plus movie premieres in the past years. Samba TV SVS DeLos Lawrence said, Ghosted nailed the winning combination of action-packed adventure with romance and drama, offering something for everyone in the household. If early viewership is any indication of its continued success, audience will not be ghosting his breakout performance for the streamer. Written by Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, Chris McKenna, and Erik Sommers, Ghosted follows Cool, who falls head over heels for enigmatic Sadie before he makes the shocking discovery that she is a secret agent. Before they can decide on a second date, Cool and Sadie are swept away on an international adventure to save the world. I am thoroughly impressed by Anna de Armas, and I could write pages about her talent, although I cannot quite recall where I first saw her, perhaps in some soaps. She constantly demonstrates her dedication to improving her craft. In Ghosted, she courageously took on a major role that initially seems like a risky endeavor, but in my opinion it paid off to some extent. Adapting to Chris Evans' role other than Captain America might be a challenge for some of us as it was for me. However, his work alongside Ryan Gosling is The Grey Man impressed me. In Ghosted, he portrays the innocent and unassuming boyfriend who was unexpectedly ghosted after a one night stand or perhaps a one day stand. I will not spare it for you. The best way to experience Ghosted is perhaps by avoiding the trailer entirely, which is precisely how I approached it. Deliberating testing my patience, I assumed it was just another romantic adventure featuring character I would reluctantly tolerate. However, the plot takes a surprising turn at the perfect moment, not too early or too late to give us a jolting shot of what this movie is truly about. The humor was well executed and the action, in its own way, was perfect for the film. Adrien Brody's dynamic performance added depth to the movie, and I must admit that I have not fully explored his filmography. I have only watched a few of his movies, most of which I enjoyed. When it comes to villainous dialogue, Adrien Brody delivers just as effectively as most actors who have the opportunity to play such roles. The image throughout the movie remained mildly unpredictable, which added a delectable flavor to the overall experience. I found the movie quite enjoyable, with the cast delivering strong performance, although I believe the marketing for it could have been improved. Therefore, I would rate it 5.2 out of 10. Ghosted, the action movie starring Chris Evans and Anna de Armas, takes audience on an underlined fluid journey filled with suspense, intense action sequence, and a compelling on-screen chemistry. Directed by a visionary filmmaker, Dexter Fletcher, Ghosted delivers a thrilling experience that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The film follows the story of Cool, who falls head over heels of enigmatic Sadie, but then makes a shocking discovery that she is a secret agent. Before they can decide on a second date, Cool and Sadie are swept away on an international adventure to save the world. Chris Evans shines in his role, bringing his signature blend of charms and intensity to the character. He effortlessly portrays the complexities of Harnet's agent, combining physicality and emotional depth to create a compelling protagonist. Anna de Armas showcases her talent, infusing the character with intelligence and determination. Their chemistry is palpable, creating a believable dynamic that adds depth and authenticity to the narrative. The action sequences in Ghosted are pulse-pounding and depth-charged, from high-octane car chases to intense hand-to-hand combat. The film offers a thrilling spectacle that keeps the audience engaged throughout. The sleek cinematography and skillfully editing enhance the visual impact, hiding the suspense and excitement. While Goose excel in its action sequence, it also taps into the character's emotional journey. As the plot unravels, we witness their vulnerabilities and personal struggles, adding depth and humanity to the story. The supporting cast, including seasoned actors, add further depth to the film's narrative, delivering net-worthy of performances that elevate the overall experience. The film's screenplay strikes a balance between intense action and character-driven moments, offering a well-rounded narrative. However, there are occasional pacing issues that slightly hinder the overall flow of the story. Nevertheless, the engaging performance and thrilling action sequence make up for these minor shortcomings. In conclusion, Ghosted is an exciting action movie that showcases the talent of Chris Evans and Anna de Armas with its intense action, solid performance, and captivating storyline. The film provides an enjoyable and exhilarating cinematic experience that will satisfy fans of the genre. So, mostly people think that the story of the Ghosted is written by the ChatGPT. Like they said that, hey ChatGPT, write a screenplay about a single farmer who asks a woman out on a date. They spend a day falling for one day another, then sleep together, but then he spends her a bunch of needy, uncool texts. When she doesn't respond, he tracks her down and discovers she is a super spy. Then he becomes involved in her mission to recover a deadly virus from international bad guys. Given the virus an exocet name like Aztec, maybe eventually they fall in love. Despite his smoothing, he also helps her scare the virus using his high school wrestling skill. Be sure to include a lot of gunfights and playful banter throughout. set the climax in a revolving restaurant that goes out of control like the Gravitron at an amusement park. But please only use the word fuck once because we want this to be PG-13. Ghosted is the kind of empty Hollywood project that makes you wonder whether screenwriters are already using artificial intelligence to write their script. The movie is such a predictable by the numbers affair. The only reasonable explanation for the result is that a computer tried to exprimate human speech pattern and failed miserable. The film pairs Armas and Chris Evans once more after Night Owls 2019 and Grey Man 2022, a winning on-screen duo. To be sure, but on-screen chemistry requires more than two very attractive leads to function, and the sausage-faced foursome of screenwriters have not given their stars anything interesting to do or say. Rhett Reese and Paul Raching, writers of Zombieland 2009 and Deadpool 2013, received screenplay credit alongside Chris McKenna and Erik Sommers. The result feels pieced together from True Lies 1994 and Night and Day 2010. But with the gender role reserved, the concept alone is not necessarily bad, but the execution feels spiritless and artificial. Ivan plays Cole Regan, who works on his family farm and runs an organic vegetable stand. His family, including his teen sister Lizzie Broadway and spotted parents Amy Stradis, Tate Watson, no cool as a history of communication girlfriend with attention until they leave. So after he meets and spends a day with the spouse and curator Sadie Rhodes, and she goes silent, everyone assumes that he is done it again. But then he decided to locate her using a tracking device on his inhaler, which he left in her purse. He arrives in London for what he hopes will be a romantic gesture, but instead he finds himself captured by goons. Headed by Tim Blake Nelson doing a non-script European accent, Nelson character thinks Cully is a mysterious contact known as the Taxman, and he has a lair filled with CGI insect that he intends to use on Clue to extract information. Right before he attached a murder hornet to Clue's face, Sadie arrives gun blazing to save the day. From here, it's a raid across the globe to recover a biological weapon from a nefarious arms dealer, Luke played by Adrien Brody, whose French accent belongs in a parody movie. Along the way, Chloe and Sadie Baker about their would-be compelling, Cole's striker behavior and Sadie emerging to commitment. It's all realized through a lame plate metaphor involving a cat. Other characters who observe them together keep remarking about the sexual tension in the room, but we don't see it. Not even the stars' good looks can gloss over the lake of spark between them. Sure, Ivan's perfectly coffinied their remains intact despite a series of shout-outs and explosions. Armas' makeup never looks less than perfect, through the wig was a bad choice. But their characters are empty and their dialogue include a lot of repetitive explication. Now let's talk about the full cast and crew of the movie. The movie is directed by Dexter Fletcher. Writing credit goes to Erik Reese, Paul Wernick, Chris McKenna, Erik Sommers, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick. Movie cast: Chris Evans as Cole Turner, Ana de Armas as Sadie Rhodes, Adrien Brody as Levick, Mike Moore as Wagner, Ted Donovan as Dad, Amy Sadris Mom, Lizzie Broadway Matty Turner, Mustafa Shakir Monty Jackson, Anthony Mackie as grandson of Sam, John Chu as the Leopard, Sebastian Stan God, Ryan Reynolds Jonas, Anna Davis Smith as Claudia Jettis, Tim Blake Nelson Brislaw, Tia Sikras Patty, Steve Park Otami, Hamza Shabazz Announcer, Bon Gourmand English Chappie, Marwan Kansari as Marco, Israel Vaughan as Martin, Victoria Kelhar as Edna, Jordan Blair McNall as Brown, Zan Shah as Rock Ron Petron, Stephanie Weiss as Matri D, Dexter Fletcher as Roll. Scott Edson, criminal investigator, Sarah E. Ran, art student, Yusuf Azami, Afghanistan, Bindor, Brian Foreman, Candy Center, Oprah attendance. Now let's talk about the producers of the movie. John Anton as associate producer, Brian Bill as executive producer, Aaron Charles as line producer from Washington DC, George Staley as producer, Anna de Armas as executive producer, David Ellison as producer, Chris Evans as producer, Aaron Fitzgerald as producer, Ellis Production, London, Dana Goldberg as producer, Don Grandit as producer, Delia as co-producer, Donald J. Lee Jr. executive producer, Rhett Reese as producer, Nick Santiano as associate producer, Paul Rink as producer, Jonathan Zroor as line producer. Music by Lauren Bilfey. Cinematography by Salvatore Tatiano. Editing by Chris Lebanon, Jim Mee, and George Zufer. Casting by Mindy Marin. Production design by Claude Perry. Art direction by Naked Ivan, Ryan Grossam, Mai Mitchell, Drew Monon, and Jon Snow. Set direction by Kathy Lucas. Costume designed by Marlena Stewart. Makeup department, Jacqueline D. Bell as hairstylist, Susanna Bokken as hairstylist, Daphne Nate Blogg as makeup artist from Washington DC, Ashley Lackland as hairstylist from Washington DC unit, Donna Sarcelli as makeup artist, Jasmine Davids as makeup artist, Abigail T as makeup artist, Dubara Lamia as makeup artist, Jessica Giger as additional hairstylist, Lisa Hazel as hairstylist, Shelly Lemancy as makeup artist, Mary Titt as hairstylist, Tonya Johnson as key hairstylist, Jack Lazaro as key makeup artist, Kat Loftus as key hairstylist, Anna Majosi as hairstylist, Stacey L as hair department head, Tana Medina as additional hair artist, Bill Mayer as makeup department head, Mazzino Roxtro as key makeup artist, Dubara Rutherford as makeup artist, Don Rutherford as makeup artist, Dora Torres as hairstylist, Abriel Figley as key makeup artist, Way Vegeti as makeup department, Sabrina Wilson as makeup artist, Han Lee as additional makeup artist. Production management, Dennis Avocard as production coordinator, Betsy Alton as production manager from 2nd unit, Jeffrey Herlicker as post-production supervisor, Donald J. Lee Jr. as junior production manager, Christine Lavish as production manager London unit, Jason Miller as post-production supervisor, Debbie Walters as production supervisor from London, Sky Wheaton as production supervisor. 2nd unit director or assistant director, A.J. Bruno as additional 2nd assistant director, Nate Classic as additional 2nd assistant director, Robert Hagmatan as additional 2nd assistant director Washington unit, Paul Holman as second assistant director, Summer McCoy as second assistant director, Robert Ratran as 2nd assistant director, Megan Sekhmet as 2nd assistant director, Ista Gilani as set production assistant, Rhett Reese as 2nd assistant director. Art department, Fernando Excuta as concept illustrator, Ral Alexis as set dresser, Adam Backmeyer as greens, Carla M. Bailey as on-set painter, Mike Bailey as journal foreman, Joy Bell as blister, Gia Bethel Property as property assistants, Patrick Dolling as property assistants, Alisa Diaz as sculptor, Darwin Maret as set designer, Isaac Mantua as set dresser from second unit, sound department, Ian Pinter as boom operator, Aaron Price as boom operator from second unit, Smokey Cloud as first assistant sound editor, Ryan Cole as dialogue editor, Mason Donhole as second unit director. Now let's explain the ending of the movie. The ending of the film leaves the door open for a potential sequel. In the final scene, Sadie and Cole travel through Europe, hinting at the possibility of further adventures. Sadie's revelation of an unknown arms dealer in the trunk of her car suggests that their story is far from over. Despite the film's mixed reviews, a sequel is possible if it does well on Apple TV+. The movie ends with inspiration for a sequel whether it happens or not. Ghosted ends its action-packed story with potential, love, personal growth and unexpected connection are explored in the film. The movie has flaws, but Cole and Sadie's relationship and the plot twist make it entertaining. The movie's ending provides closure and suggests more stories, making it memorable. Ghosted sees Cole, played by Chris Evans, become entangled in a deadly globe-trotting adventure with CIA agent Sadie, played by Anna de Armas. And the romantic ending might be typical, but there's more to it than that. The 2023 movie is Apple TV Plus' new biggest budget, star-studded action movie which has become the go-to formula for streaming service. The cast of Ghosted stars Chris Evans as Cole, who quickly becomes infatuated with a woman he spent one night with. But after he ghosts him, he travels across the world to find her using an inhaler tracker. That's when he realizes he is in far more than he praying for, getting tied up and almost tortured by arms dealer. After becoming embroiled in a chess match with arms dealer over the Aztec, a government-created weapon that almost has the power of an atomic bomb, Ghosted erupts into an epic shootout in a classy, revolving restaurant in the sky. So the movie has been critically based with a rotten 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. The ending is still full of exciting set piece, Mortal Kombat fatality level death, and everything is perfectly wrapped up with no loose ends. However, while the film is free of any kind of ambiguity, there are still some questions resolving around Ghosted's ending that need answer. What happened to Cole and Sadie in Ghosted's ending? After some awkward flirting, Cole and Sadie immediately get off to a bad start, foreshadowing the love-hate relationship they develop while in the field. However, the two characters ultimately change for the better after meeting each other. Sadie helps Cole become one-minded, as he had never traveled outside the US before and was always scared to take chances. And after spending time with Sadie for 3 months, he is less fazed by her career and even make the leap to writing a book. Cole also helps Sadie become more open and learn that it's okay to have feelings and be more emotional. While her work will undoubtedly be a problem for their relationship from time to time, their future ultimately looks positive, and they might even find themselves on another deadly adventure together. Why Sadie is called the Taxman? It is not outright mentioned why Sadie is called the Taxman, but it's easy to see why the CIA and the arms dealer reaches that connection. And it is not just a cool name for an expert assassin. Sadie is a ruthless CIA agent who is sent out on a field work just like tax collectors. Though that field work is very different, but Sadie and the Taxman come to collect with ruthless determination, and not following their orders comes with some major consequences. There's no emotion in what either of them does, and Sadie takes people's lives without any hesitation. But the nickname also creates a great way to hide Sadie's true identity. Ghosted switches one action drop on its head as Evans plays a damsel in distress, which would usually be played by the female lead. And the film often plays on that throughout the whole movie. The arms dealer believes that Cole is the Taxman because he is physically fit male. They never once suspect that Sadie is the real Taxman because she is a woman. Not only do they not suspect a thing, but they didn't even believe her when she flat out tells them she is the Taxman. How Sadie unlocked as a case. ASIC is a biochemical weapon that can wipe out the entire eastern seaboard within seconds. The problem that Livik, played by Adrien, Brody, and other arms dealers have is that the ASIC is locked in a briefcase and the only person who knew the passcode was Alina, who was killed by Sadie. However, given that Cool is an expert botanist, after seeing a photograph of Alina's home, he spots the one plant in the apartment, and Amaranth. Cool revealed that the planet has a connection to Aztec people, as it was used in scared rituals. Because of the link, Cool and Sadie figure out that the passcode is the plant's genetic DNA. This reveal also remarkably makes the opening scene where Sadie and Cool meet for the first time better. The movie had been criticized for its dialogue and plot, and many have pointed out that it feels like artificial intelligence wrote it. But the plot reveals is forced down at the very beginning. Sadie meets Cool at a market because she is looking for a plant after being jealous of Alina's amaranth, which she saw when she killed Alina. Alina was given the plant by the scientist who created the ASIC, and that plant just happened to be the very key to everything that happens in the movie. What happens to Livik crew after Goose ending? While Goose didn't totally make up for the Grey Man as expected, the film has an explosive ending with almost no survivors. Livik sended expendables henchmen out to retrieve the ASIC's passcode by any means necessary. Livik's crew is seemingly no more, as every of them seal their fate when they go up against Sadie. Not only is Livik murdered when a sculptor flattens him, but his right-hand man Vignard is brutally killed when he falls into the cogs of the revolving restaurant's mechanism. It doesn't seem if any of the living crew is left, but someone has to be handed down all of the artificially and private jets. The real meaning of Ghost's ending. Cool Intention has raised criticism given that this trip to London was extremely toxic and creepy behavior, which is even mentioned in the movie itself. However, underneath the surface of the explosive action and bombastic car chases is a real love story between Cool and Sadie. Even if it doesn't get off to the best start, while it's an easy to watch rom-com, the two characters overcome certain personal flaws thanks to each other. Ghosted illustrates that very different people can love each other for who they are, even if certain characteristics or even their careers are less than desirable. How the Ghosted ending set up a sequel. The Armas must retire from action movies after Ballerina, the John Wick spin-off movie that's scheduled for release next year. Based on the final scene, a Ghosted sequel is more than possible. The movie ends with Sadie revealing an unknown arms dealer locked in the trunk of her car. While that could have simply been a throwaway gag given Cole's new severe attitude to Sadie's profession, it could be setting up the premise of Ghosted 2 with Cool somehow being pulled back into the action after becoming an accomplice. Considering the movie's negative reception, a sequel is uncertain, but it could be greenlit if it gets enough views on Apple TV+. While there are many cheesy moments in Ghosted, it's a breath of fresh air seeing Chris Evans not as Captain America or in an action flick. He exudes charm and charisma as a plant expert. Cool in this rom-com alongside Anna de Armas Sadie. Little does he know she's a CIA agent, which leads to him getting tangled up in a mission. Cool, the damsel in distress, and Sadie end up in the other half of the world trying to locate a bio-weapon known as Aztec for the GS coordinate. It gets even more complicated when Cool's mistaken for the operative when he is not cut out of the spycraft and war. Thankfully, Cool devises an intense plan with the CIA to bring the chemical in and save the world, which brings to light how the couple really needs each other. Cool really needs Sadie help in Ghosted. In Ghosted Final, which features many Marvel comics, the CIA sidelines Sadie for insubordination, sending Cool in her stead in the exchange with the arms dealer. It notes through the James Bond movies, Mission Impossible and the Bond series, with allegiance being questioned. Sadly, the villain take out the agents and try to ambush Cool in a rotating restaurant. A lot of the action mimic the Winter Soldier movie final, but just when it seems like Adrien Brody Levick will kill Cool and get the WMD, Sadie intervenes. The firefight results in the goon dying, Levick dropping from the high rise to his death, Sadie grabbing the wheel when it seems like it's tumbled to the ground, and Cole catching her from falling. It reinforces that while they have got different personalities, they are a great match. The film ends with them meeting Cole family and Sadie's keeping her job secret by continuing the rules of an art dealer, spending time with Cole between mission as he plans his Green Thumb empire. Cole heals Sadie in a big way. What's worth nothing is how Sadie is healed by meeting Cole in Ghosted, understanding the concept of trust and selflessness that Eldos are sure he came off as needy and attentive, but it's because he cares more so. He had bad relationships in the past, so he doesn't want to ruin things with Sadie. As for Sadie, she is accomplished to short tense relationship, not wanting folk to get close as she hates the idea of lose. Her mom died when she was young and the grief didn't really heal after they came over as immigrants. To make it worse, she had to kill a treacherous colleague who tried to sell ASIC early on, so all this trauma helps steal a walls in Sadie's mind. It's why she considers Fox expendables and pawns to be manipulated. So much so that like to Cole, which is somehow unstable as she is trained to look at the bigger picture. But the ASIC job has Cole, despite knowing her flaws, risking his life to save her and avoid his never ventured into. That teaches Sadie an immense lesson on love, which is why she breaks control and comes to help him in the end, realizing she has to let someone inherit her life the way her mother would want her to. Ghosted is the movie of Anna the Armas, and let's explain the Goose's ending. What's the deal with ASIC? Chris Ivan and Anna de Armas are back together for their third shared movie, and this time in Ghosted, they are off on an international spy adventure. The twist here that Evans plays Salt of the Earth farmer Cool, who gets unwittingly tracked into a world of Eponik when he discovers that Sadie, who ghosted him after one perfect date, is a secret agent working for the CIA. Cool tracks Sadie down to London and expects to deliver a grand romantic gesture, but he ends up being kidnapped by some bad dudes asking after the taxman and for a passport which he obviously doesn't have. Luckily, Sadie shows up to save Cool and their joint adventure begins, but if you were too distracted by their combined good looks or just gave up before the end of Ghosted, we are here to help. So let's dive into the ending of Ghosted to explain just what ASIC is and who's got the passcode and whether Sadie and Cool make it out together. After Cool and Sadie escape the clutches of Levick's goons, he placed a $1 million bounty on their heads. He mistakenly thinks Cool is the taxman, but it's really Sadie who is after Levick because he is planning to sell ASIC, a biochemical weapon hardly carried in a skirt case. Sadie killed Elena, an enemy agent who had the passcode to ASIC that Levick needed to sell to their buyers. He believed that since the taxman killed Elena, they would have the passcode, but even Sadie doesn't have the passcode, which is the entire genetic sequence of a living organism. After they avoid being captured by various bounty hunters, played by Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, and John Chu in fun cameos, Sadie finds out where Levick wanted him to take Cool, who uses it to her advantage by pretending to be a bounty hunter and taking Cool to Levick to get her hands on ASIC. It works to an extent as Cool and Sadie find themselves on a plane with Levick's right-hand man Wagner. Wagner sees a selfie that Cool take of him and Sadie while she was sleeping. Creepy, right? So the ruse is broken, but the two manage to fight off the goons and parachute off the plane with ASIC. They land on an island where Sadie sends a beacon of the CIA to come and get them. Unfortunately, Vignar had also tracked them to the island and gets there first to steal back Aztec before the CIA arrive. CD is suspended by the CIA for letting Aztec get into enemy hands before Cool works out the key to the passcode. In a crime scene photo of Alinsa that she sports and Amaranth in the background, which is a crop often used as ritual by the Aztec, Sadie realizes Elena took it from Dr. Harvey, who created Aztec and was obsessed with the Aztec use of human sacrifice, so she works out that the Armas genetic sequence is the passcode. Sadie suggests that they use the first of the passcode 4 part to lure Levix into a trap to take back Aztec. The CIA agrees, but they don't let Sadie go and continue to use Cool as the false taxman, sending him to meeting with Levix. Levix shows up with his fire and looks set to kill Cool. Before Sadie shows up, she opens the case and gets Levix fired to wire her $10 million for the court. Sadie then chooses that money to put a bounty on Levix's head, with the restaurant conveniently filled with bounty hunters. A shootout ensues ends with Cool besting Vignar and Sadie retaking Aztec before Levix falls out of a window to his death. All's well that ends well, and sometime later Sadie is seen with Cool family at their farm. The final scene of Ghosted takes place 3 months later with Sadie and Cool on a rail tour of Europe. Sandy is hunting down clients while Cole finally gets to work on his book about the history of farming. In theaters, a sequel, but we'll wait to see if that happens. Starring Ana de Armas and Gracie Van, Ghosted is a 2023 action-packed romance directed by Dexter Fletcher. The film centers on Cool and Sadie, whose relationship unfolds with suspense and expensive twist. As the story nears its climax, it leaves viewers with satisfied and curious about the future of this dynamic pair. At the heart of Ghosted is a surprising romance between Gracie Van's down-to-earth character Cool and Ana de Armas' enigmatic CIA operative Sadie after a perfect first date. Their relationship takes a sudden turn when Sadie abruptly ghosts Cool. Desperate for answers, Cool embarks on an unintended adventure in London, delve into a world of intrigue and danger. The film's climax features a high-stakes confrontation with the biological weapon known as Aztec, culminating in a tense showdown between Cool, Sadie, and arms dealer. The dramatic sequence unfolds in a revolving restaurant where the main antagonist, Levix, meets a brutal and his crew is defeated. This revelation addresses the immediate danger while setting the stage for future storylines. Ghosted highlights the evolution of Cool and Sadie's relationship. Initially, their diverse background and Sadie's secrecy create tension. However, as they confront the threats posed by the arms dealer, their bond deepens. Cool transitions from a cautious farmer to a daring adventurer, showcasing his newfound confidence and adaptability. Sadie evolves from a deep CIA agent into someone who can openly express her feelings, making herself vulnerable to love. Their final moments together suggest a future filled with shared adventure and mutual understanding. A key moment in the film occurs when Sadie inputs the passcode for the Aztec weapons briefcase, which is associated with the Amaranth plant. This discovery highlights Cool's exceptional knowledge of plants and his crucial role in resolving the central conflicts through an understanding of ancient Aztec ritual. It also underscores the synergy between Cool and Sadie as they combine their strength to overcome challenge. The allies, the taxman adds a layer of mystery to Sadie's character, while the origin of the same remains unclear. It enhances her intrigue and allows her to manipulate situations in a way that makes Cool appear to be the taxman. This facet of the film underscores Sadie's formidable skills and adds complexity to the narrative. Ghosted concludes with a potential setup for a sequel. In the final scene, Cool and Sadie embark on a new adventure across Europe, hinting at further escapes. The discovery of an unknown grandeur in Sadie's car trunk suggests their story is far from over. Despite receiving mixed reviews from critics, the film's ending creates an intriguing promise for future installment, giving fans something to look forward to. The film blends action, romance, and personal growth, showcasing Cool and Sadie's involving relationship and promising more thrilling conflicts ahead. The melodramatic and emotionally rich narrative ensured that their story remained compelling and memorable, setting the stage for continued excitement in potential sequel. Ghosted ending. Why does Sadie come to help Cool? Ghosted on Apple TV Plus is Apple's attempt to make its first mark in the large-scale spy comedy adventure genre. All digital platforms have a high-profile interest in the category. Netflix joined the big one with Red Notice last year, while Prime Video has come up with the Jack Ryan and the upcoming series Citadel. Ghosted stars Anna de Armas and Chris Evans in central roles and feature a slew of fascinating cameos that will get the pop culture aficionados going. This is perhaps a pivotal moment in Armas' career and characterization as an action woman. She joined an elite class of ladies including Charlize Theron, Maggie Q, Uma Thurman, and Gil Gadget in being the it girl for the action genre. Evans is already an established persona thanks to his Captain America that it all boiled down to how the fans react to the pairing of Evan and Armas eventually that will decide the fate of the movie turning into a franchise. Ghosted had the potential but things are always volatile in the movie business. The ending explainer delve deep into Ghosted's universe and bring all the answers you might want after watching the film. Let's dive right in. Ghosted follows the story of Sadie, a CIA operative, and Cool, a farmer, and how they connect on an emotional level on their first date. When Sadie's ghost Cool, he has become with a solution that leads him to London, where Sadie is at the moment. He is unwittingly kidnapped by a criminal gang looking for passcode to a device. As Cool learns Sadie hidden secrets, their love-hate relationship continues as they are both involved in the mission and must see it to the end to save the lives of millions that are threatened by the device called Aztec, which is a biochemical weapon. When Cool is kidnapped and taken to Khyber Pass in Pakistan, he is almost tortured by Livik Man. Livik is the crime boss who has taken money from Mr. Otari, a Japanese businessman, to sell him Aztec. But the problem with the situation is that Livik does not have the relevant passcode to access Aztec. It is a biochemical weapon capable of bringing on mass destruction of lives. It is hosted in a high security case that can only be opened with the passcode. Only Elena, a former CIA operative who said his skills, figure it out. All that Sadie knows that at the moment in the passcode is the DNA encrypted of something long and unique. Sadie got to Elena before she could upload the passcode to Livik. Unfortunately, Elena had already destroyed the passcode before Sadie got to her. The correct mission for Sadie was to retrieve the device whose location she did not know. If Livik was able to get the passcode somehow and sell them to the highest bidder, there would be a war on a globe scale. Why does Sadie change her plan when Cool tells her about the passcode? Cool was captured by Livik Man and asked about the passcode. They believe him to be the Taxman, a legendary CIA operative who has left a trail of bodies and never managed to be caught. In reality, Sadie is the Taxman, but Livik Man captured Cool when he was looking for Sadie in London. Sadie's original plan was to retrieve the Aztec when she thought pass in the caves of Khyber Pass. She was not actually looking to save Cool, which broke his heart. There was an understanding in the CIA ranks that Livik already had the passcode but did not have the device. Sadie learned that Livik has Aztec but not the passcode when Cool mentioned that he was asked when he was being tortured in the caves. She changes the plan, which was earlier to drop off Cool safely. The plan did not come to fruition as Marco, her former lover and grant resource person, was killed by bounty hunters. Livik had placed a hefty bounty on Taxman head and the photo circulated was of Cool. In a hilarious sequence, we saw a Captain America reunion with Falcon, Anthony Mackie and Bucky. Substanstein joined Captain America Chris Evans as bounty hunters looking to capture him alive. But now she hands him to Livik to steal Aztec when she sees the device with him. Sadie decides to use Cool as a bait, but since He does trust her. She is forced to knock him unconscious and go ahead with the plan anyway. All of this comes very randomly in the film, which is very convenient. While at Langley CIA headquarters, Cool looks at a screen that displays image of all the people Sadie has murdered to complete her mission. When he sees the photo for Elena house, he notices a plot in the background. Since Cool is a farmer and is actively writing a book about how agriculture practice has evolved over the countries, he recognized the Armas plot in the photo. The plot was often used in Brussels by the Aztec in their ritual. Sadie realizes that Elena took the plot from Armas, the scientist who was obsessed with the Aztec use of sacrifice. He was the one who had made the device. The discovery is very simplistic and a broad negative about the film. This is an interesting parallel that the makers draw out well in Ghosted. Sadie and Cool are completely different people. The farmer is a CIA operative and the latter is a farmer. Their job have a lot to say about their personalities. Cool likes to nature and love plant so that they become so far little seedling. He is caring, warm and perhaps a little needy as well, just like plants are. Cool is a hopeless romantic and his ex-girlfriend Fiona left him for this very reason. It would be unfair to call him soft, but by comparison to Sadie, he stands no chance against the goons. Sadie, on the other hand, is a heartless assassin, although the void in her life due to her job is filled by her. Sadie's mother died early and she did not have a feeling growing up because they were immigrants. Cool had a well-functioning family, showing the difference in their nurturing over the years. Sadie was like the cactus plant Cool brought for her as a gift, harsh and in little need for looking after. That was the fundamental distinction between the two characters. This dynamic is quite wholesome as it shows while the characters are down to one another and why they need each other. It is one of those rare equations where the background and jobs of the character are used very cleverly to enhance the quality of the storyline. Ivan and Armas are brilliant in conjuring passionate chemistry on screen and doing full justice to their roles. Why does Sadie come to help Cool despite being suspended? The ending of Ghosted takes place after Sadie is suspending pending investigation and Cool chooses to help the CIA capture Livik. He is used as bait to lure them in and then have the CIA take charge. But why would Cool help them? Cool has a dilemma. If he doesn't help the CIA, he doesn't risk his life. But guys like Livik never stop at anything and his family is in danger. If he helps them, his own life is in danger. He chooses to fight bravely for his loved ones and goes along with the mission. The Aztec has 4 segments of passcodes. When the CIA is able to decrypt the passcode's first segment, they send it to Livik as part of the bait. He knows what is going on but still takes it, confident of pulling it off. On arrival at the place, his men kill the 3 CIA operatives who were stationed in a van outside. Cool is given a head up to leave but he stays on. He is in deep trouble as Utari and Livik and their men take charges of the whole place and it seems like Cool will die. But then Sadie shows up with the Beatles Taxman playing in the background. From there on the two fight a united front even as Sadie opens the case and gives them access to the device. Livik turns aggressive when he sees the device and wants to kill the pair. Sadie cleverly put a bounty on their head before she came and assassins caught on. She now has the money from Utari to use as the bounty. A fight breaks out as Cool is found along with Livik second in command. He is a tough fight with Cool is eventually able to kill him. Sadie puts up a lone fight upstairs as Utari and Livik men fight it out. In the end, Livik and Sadie are the only one left waving for the device. Cool comes up to save the day and they together kill Livik and save the device. The film ends with Sadie meeting Cool family and them starting a serious relationship. But why did Sadie come back for Cool? That is indeed a sad scratcher, but the answer is simple. because she didn't want to be a cactus anymore in cool style of phrasing thing. The two found it difficult to understand each other and had their ups and downs. Sadie realized that even though Cool is not what she wants, she needs him in his life as the nourishment to bring her back on track. She did love Cool but felt that she could try to be more open with him and match their love frequencies. Ghosted is basically a new action adventure film with the theme of love and romance as its center, starring popular actors like the Anna de Armas, Gracie Vance with Adrien Brody as villain. The story essentially followed two characters with contrasting personalities, Cool and Sadie, who have a great first date before suddenly getting embroiled in an international mission to save the world. The premise and title of the film are based on Sadie's initial evidence of Cool, who attempts ghosting in the digital age, and the two then trying to mend their relationship. Although there is nothing exceptional to find in Ghosted, and the cultural representation is heavily superficial when the plot goes through international locations, it is watchable as a mindless entertainer. Ghosted begins with Sadie Rhodes, a busy professional, taking some time with her own thought as she drives through the suburbs of Washington DC. It is seemingly clear that the woman does not get much time like this, and her biggest worry is that she will end up being alone and lonely in life. Sadie talked more about his on a phone call with her therapist, saying that the recent death of a colleague who was the same age as her, he has got her thinking about her own life. The therapist's advice is to not end up doing anything big or sudden in and her life out of these warriors, and Sadie has no much plan either. The most she can think of is buying a house plant to keep her company, and for this she stops at a local organic market in Washington DC. It is here that she first meets Cool Turner, a young farmer who is at the market to sell his own goods and happens to be watching over a neighboring plant stall at the time. Cool and Sadie's first interaction is rather negative as the man is angry at the fact that she is about to buy a plant which she would probably have no time to care for. It is on the insist of others that Cool realizes that the she share some sort of intense sexual spark, and he decided to give it a chance. Unlike Sadie, Cool is not lonely in his life as he is very close with his parents and sisters, with whom he still stays at their farmhouse. But the man has had no luck finding a partner in life, owing to the fact that he gets extremely clingy and attached to any woman he goes out with. Both Cool and Sadie feels an attraction toward each other, and the woman agrees to go on a date with Cool. Beyond either of their extension, their date scratches over the entire day and even the night as the two love each other's company, and it is even difficult to let go the next morning. Taking a lesson from the earlier experience in life, Cool decided to act less clingy with Sadie but still sends her on numerous number of text messages over a short span of days. There is no reply from Sadie since making it clear that the woman is now ghosting Cool. The coincidence, Cool now learns that Sadie is actually in London at the time, and unable to stay away from his feelings, he decided to give Sadie a surprise visit in the UK. Cool follows through with his plan, but little does he follow that Sadie is not actually an art creature like she told him, but is actually an international spy working for the CIA. After landing in the UK and taking an exorbitantly expensive cab ride to London's Tower Bridge, Cool starts looking for the woman he was surely falling in love with. During their date, he had accidentally left his inhaler inside Sadie's bag, and owing to his forgetful nature, Cool had a tracker fixed to it. This is how he tries to track down Sadie's location by tracking the location of an inhaler on his phone, but he is unable to see the woman anywhere. Instead, Cool is suddenly surrounded by a group of mean-looking men, and thought that he tries to walk away from the situation. The men seize him and throw him into a van with his face covered. When Cool finally wakes up a few hours later, he finds himself tied to a chair inside an underground room that is filled with dangerous insects and the man who had kidnapped him. The apparent leader of the group, a man named Breesall, addresses Cool as the taxman and starts interrogating him about some court. Shocked and panicked by the entire situation, which he realizes to be extremely dangerous, Cool remains that the gang has mistaken him for someone else, but these words are not taken seriously. Bristol continues to use force against him to spill out the information he wants and then ever prepares to torture Cool with some of the toxic insect. Right at the time, a masked woman marches into the room and shoots everyone dead. She quickly unmasks herself to reveal that she is Sadie and the woman that rescued Cool out of the underground facility, shooting through a group of armed men. Sadie reveals that she is not actually an art crafter but the CIA spy on an international mission. She also reveals that she had indeed some ghosting Cool because her conscious text has made Sadie realize how clinging he was. Contrary to what he has previously stated about himself, however, Sadie also admitted that she did eventually decide to contact Cool when she would return to the USA after her mission. But now there was clearly no need for it. When the two come out into the open, they find themselves in the high altitude of the Khyber Pass in Pakistan, and they have to navigate through the dangerous mountainous road in the bus, all while being chased by the militant group. Gustis does not spend too much time revealing who the taxman is, as it's quite evident that it is Sadie Rhodes herself. In her professional field, Sadie had created an air of mystery and suspense around her character, as her real identity was not known to anyone but her CIA operatives, and she was instead known as the taxman by her enemies and rival spies. The taxman had become notoriously famous for being efficient and ruthless in her missions, and in reality, Sadie is indeed a cool-blooded killer who does not mind taking the lives of people she considered evil. In fact, the colleague that Sadie mourned the death of at the art of the beginning of the film was a woman named Elena, who was a rival spy of hers. It was actually Sadie who had killed Elena, as the CIA could not longer trust the woman and had therefore sent the taxman to kill her off. The entire plan in the works that posed a great threat towards safety in fully revealed when Sadie and Cool reaches the Pakistan city of Mingora. Here Sadie meets a false spy and the old loved name Marco, who fills them in on what has been happening. A devastating biochemical weapon called Aztec has been created by some scientists, but this weapon had them stolen by a dangerous group of criminals. The Aztec bioweapon is apparently powerful enough to destroy the entire eastern seaboard in the USA in a matter of seconds, and just like common sense repeated in unravel American films, a threat to America automatically means a threat to the entire world. This group of criminals is headed by an ex-French spy named Levick, who intended to sell off the bioweapon to a powerful Asian buyer named Otami. But despite having the Aztec in its hand, Levick is unable to sell it because the weapon is placed inside a heavily protective case that requires a certain code to be opened. But the CIA and the criminal are aware that this code is actually a long sequence of numbers based on the genetic sequence of something. Without those codes, the Aztec could detonate in the hands of whoever tried to force it open, meaning that the code was of utmost importance. Sometime earlier, only an individual, a spy, had been able to decipher the code to the Aztec code, and this happened to be Elena. Since Sadie or the taxman has killed Elena Levick and his men assumed that the taxman must have the code, this was the very reason why she had spent men to track Sadie in London as well. During the same time when Cool was there, but Cool's suspicious behavior is trying to make them, someone made the criminal believe that he was the taxman and kidnap him. At present, Levick still believes that it is Cool who is a master spy and announced a hit on Cool, which leads to a number of professional hitmen trying to apprehend Cool and Sadie at Mingora.